It started with cold pavement beneath Ellie's bare feet, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones and makes you forget you ever felt warmth. The rain soaked her clothes, her spirit, her will but not her hope, when she saw the abandoned mansion at the edge of town. Covered in vines and long forgotten, something in her pulled forward. Inside the broken-down estate she found stillness, silence, and a strange sense of welcome. She slept in the corner by the fireplace, wrapped in old curtains. But in the morning something called to her from the floorboards. A loose plank revealed a hidden staircase leading to a dusty cellar filled with gold embossed books and a journal marked Eleanor Hastings. As she read page after page, Ellie realized this mansion once belonged to her great-grandmother, the home stolen during a bitter family betrayal decades ago. Tucked in the back of the journal was a sealed letter and a faded deed to the estate, unsigned but still binding. There was also something else, a crumbling envelope filled with old currency, jewels, and legal documents, the kind that could rewrite her future. Ellie knew she couldn't trust just anyone, but she took the letter and deed to the one lawyer in town, who still believed in doing the right thing, and he stared at it like he'd seen a ghost. Ellie, this changes everything, he whispered, but the next day, when she returned to the mansion, the front door had been kicked in, the hidden room ransacked, and the journal was gone. Someone had followed her, someone who didn't want the truth to come out, and as she turned to run, a black car rolled up the hill slowly, headlights cutting through the fog, and a voice from the shadows called her name, Eleanor. Ellie's heart raced as the black car rolled to a stop, its headlights flickering like blinking eyes in the fog. The door creaked open and a tall man in a trench coat stepped out, his voice deep and oddly gentle. Eleanor, you don't know me, but I knew your mother. She hesitated, clutching the letter and deed in her coat, ready to run, but he raised his hands, empty. I've been trying to protect this place, he said. Your great-grandmother left instructions if any Hastings blood ever returned. We were to help, skeptical but desperate. Ellie followed him to his office, where dusty blueprints and family records lined the walls. He showed her court cases, deeds, even letters forged by the cousin who stole the house decades ago. The betrayal was deep. Greed had buried the truth. Until now, but just when she started to believe him, they heard tires screech outside. Someone had followed them again. The man grabbed the documents and shoved them into Ellie's bag. Hide them. Don't trust anyone, not even the police, he whispered. Moments later, two men burst in demanding the girl. Ellie slipped out the back, heart pounding, and ran through alleyways until she collapsed in front of the courthouse, clutching the bag. The next day she returned to the mansion, and found it surrounded by construction crews, signs posted, private property, development begins soon. Someone had forged a sale, fast-tracked a demolition, and erased her name from the town registry, as if she never existed. Then her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You should have stayed hidden. This is your last warning. But it was the attachment that chilled her. A photo of her sleeping in the mansion days ago, taken from inside the house. Ellie stared at the photo, the image of her asleep in the supposedly abandoned mansion taken from the inside, days before she ever met the mysterious man in the trench coat. Her hands trembled as she looked around the courthouse parking lot. She wasn't just being followed, she was being hunted. She went back to him, the trench coat man, and demanded answers. He finally confessed, you're not the only Hastings heir. You're just the only one they didn't buy off or eliminate. He handed her an old audio cassette and told her, this was recorded the night your mother died. It proves it wasn't an accident. She played it in his office, the static giving way to a heated argument, a scuffle, and then a voice she recognized from the town hall meetings. Councilman Brewer. Her mother had caught him forging signatures on a land deed. This land. That's why she was silenced. Ellie broke down, but the man pulled her back up. You still have the deed. It's real. It's legal. But if they destroy this place, it's over. Determined to act, Ellie live-streamed the tape, the photos, and the documents. It went viral overnight. People rallied. Reporters showed up. The mansion was suddenly guarded. But the next morning, when Ellie came back to the mansion, it had been torched, burnt to the ground. And in the ashes, firemen found a charred camera, with a memory card intact. Ellie took it to the man. But what they saw inside that memory card wasn't just shocking. It was terrifying. A video of her being watched in her sleep. But this time, the camera panned slowly to the face behind it. Ellie couldn't take her eyes off the video. The man holding the camera wasn't a stranger. He was the same man who ran the orphanage where she grew. Mr. Wallace, the gentle, kind caretaker, who gave her books and told her stories, was filming her while she slept. He was on the council, the trench coat man said. He didn't work at the orphanage by chance. He was planted there. Ellie's hands trembled. Why me? She whispered. Because you're the one heir they couldn't control, he replied. Your mother knew the truth, and she left it encoded in her journals. The last one was hidden in this mansion. With the ashes still smoldering, Ellie returned to the ruins. She found the old well behind the house, just as her mother had described in one of the letters. Climbing down, she discovered a metal box sealed tight. Inside, pages of her mother's journal and a USB drive marked with one word revive caught on a hidden mic. But just as they prepared to broadcast it all, the screen went black. The power cut. A knock echoed through the door. 3 men stood outside, all wearing suits. Ellie Hastings, one asked. We need you to come with us, now. Ellie looked at the reporter in fear, but one of the men pulled out an ID card. It read, Federal Bureau of Investigation. The men claiming to be from the FBI led Ellie into a black SUV. Inside, she met Agent Monroe, who showed her a folder of surveillance images, photos of Councilman Brewer, Mr. Wallace, and several other town leaders, all tied to a corruption ring spanning decades. We've been trying to nail them for years, Monroe said, but we needed a witness brave enough to stir the town. Ellie realized her live stream and leaked files had triggered a federal investigation already in motion. The USB labeled Revive contained damning evidence. The FBI didn't even have proof of money laundering, illegal land seizures, and even involvement in her mother's death. Ellie testified before a grand jury. Her story made national headlines. Wallace was arrested for child endangerment, Brewer for conspiracy and murder cover-up, and several others went down with them. The town turned from whispers to cheers. People apologized, strangers offered help, and donations poured in. Months later, Ellie stood on the same land where the mansion once stood, but now, it had a new foundation. A youth center and library were being built in her mother's name. The Hastings House of Hope. Ellie was no longer a homeless girl. She was a symbol, a survivor, and when she received a letter one morning with no return address, inside was a photo her mother, smiling, holding baby Ellie and a note that read, You finished what I started. I'm proud of you, Mom.